This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau.
All right, time to have some fun, possibly learn something new in the process. Ray DeLessio, Jennifer Parson with you for the next 30 minutes, give or take or so, a few seconds. Our promise to you, Jennifer.
Our promise to bring you up to speed with the latest news regarding Georgia agriculture. Straight ahead, from global impacts on farming to ensuring prosperity for our state, industry leaders converged on Perry to tackle the pressing issues ahead of the 2024 session. If you haven't noticed, Georgia's wine industry is making a resurgence thanks to a new vineyard like this one in Elberton. The inspiring story behind the winery and its journey to becoming a tranquil haven.
Plus, from farm life to future leadership, we're spending time with Dawson Johnson, a young farmer with deep roots and big ambitions as an ambassador for Georgia Farm Bureau. These stories and so much more starting right now. Well, it was quite the gathering of minds recently as the Perry National Fairgrounds hosted Georgia's top agricultural leaders for the annual Ag Issues Summit. As John Holcomb tells us, this event, hosted by the chairs of the Senate and House Ag Committee, is a great way for folks to hear from a range of speakers about the big issues affecting the state's #1 industry.
In just over 4 months, state legislators will be returning under the Gold Dome and kicking off the 2025 session. Just like with every year, there are a number of ag issues they're hoping to address this upcoming session, which is why the annual Joint Agriculture Committee Chairman Ag Issues Summit is so important, as they discuss issues within agriculture with ag industry leaders and professionals.
We had a great Ag Summit. Chairman Goodman and I had a lot of great speakers talking about the ag economy is one big area. What's going on all over our state is referring to ag and trying to get it on our agenda as we go to the legislative session later this year. My goal is to bring ag to the forefront as a real priority economic driver of our state and how important it is for the economy of our state that agriculture is successful and profitable. And that is, we're trying to highlight some real headwinds that Georgia agriculture has right now.
Of course, one of the biggest, if not the biggest headwind Chairman Dickey mentioned is the economic uncertainty many of our state's farmers are facing, something Tyler Harper, Commissioner of Agriculture, says is a real threat he sees every day and is something that needs addressing sooner rather than later.
The state of the ag economy in our state, there's a lot happening. You know, as I mentioned a minute ago, the low commodity prices that we have, and in some cases historically low commodity prices. You combine that with high input cost, you combine that with a rail strike in Canada that disrupts supply chains, you combine that with uncertainty in farm policy and ag policy because we don't have a farm bill right now. You know, there's a lot of farmers and a lot of producers around our state, and I know I even see it in my own operation at home. You know, our row crop operation where we've seen the increased cost in seed and fertilizer and chemicals, the increased cost in feed, and those low commodity prices are significantly hurting bottom lines, and it's going to make it a lot more difficult for our farmers and producers to come through this. High interest rates, you combine that with everything else that's going on, and you throw in a natural disaster here and there, it definitely it has a snowball's effect this year on the ag economy, and I'm hearing that from producers all over the state.
In the end, Chairman Dickey and his Senate counterpart, Chairman Russ Goodman, are aiming to learn about and prioritize the issues Georgia agriculture is facing as legislators prepare to head back to Atlanta at the beginning of the year.
I want to make sure our voters and our representatives all across the state know the importance of ag and support it when we get to Atlanta and have policy that moves ag forward. And I think we've got to have it on both sides of the aisle, or wherever you're urban or rural or in ag or wherever. Agriculture is so important for our state and for the long-term viability. And this really elevates it and gets it on people's priority list.
Reporting in Perry for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
In other ag news, beef prices falling slightly after record highs in July. As summer winds down, demand for beef typically falls as well. American Farm Bureau economist Bert Nelson says even though consumers may be paying more at the meat counter, that increase doesn't necessarily make it back to the farmer.
A farmer will see about 34 cents of every retail dollar comes back to the farmer with regards to beef production. But we're still not seeing really strong profitability here. That retail dollar does not mean that's what the farmer makes. The packer is really seeing the largest market share in this scenario, and the farmer has the least control out of all ends.
Whether you're looking to spend a fall weekend tasting wine, listening to music, or even throwing a wedding, Blue Cielo Farms in Elbert County has what you're looking for.
And as Damon Jones explains, it's a unique operation that's helping fulfill two separate dreams at once.
Once the 6th largest wine-producing state in the country, Georgia has really seen an industry resurgence over the past decade, with new wineries opening up every year. And one of the newer ones is Blue Cielo Farms in Elberton. It's a business idea that came about while tending to some land on a completely different property.
One day we were spraying the tree farm in Commerce, and we came across some grapes. And it was a really hot summer day, and I was getting really tired of spraying, these weeds and whatnot on the tree farm. And so when we came across these grapes, I said, wow, why are we getting rid of these grapes? Let's just grow them.
And that was the beginning of the Wiseman's journey into grapes, which eventually led to the purchase of this property 10 years later. Now, while there was some initial hesitation to expand their business, it was an opportunity they just couldn't pass up after speaking with owner Helen Lyman, who was looking to continue her late husband's dream of opening up a winery in Elbert County.
We just really bonded with her and just had a sort of kinship, and it sounds a little bit trite, but I just felt that there was a connection and that maybe this is what we were really supposed to do, was to take over this property, as she was fearlessly searching for someone to take it over and continue her husband Dale Lehman's dream, rather than turning it into pasture and just building houses.
And in February of 2023, that dream officially became a reality, as this 33-acre farm, which grows 11 different varieties of grapes, was open to the public. It's a labor of love that doesn't come without plenty of hard work and patience.
Really, the weekends I'm spending in the vineyard on Saturdays and Sundays, really tending to the vines. It's a lot of fun, but it is a lot of work, and it's very, very, very gratifying, going from pruning right through to harvest. They come with challenges. Muscadine grows easiest, I would say, here in Georgia. On the hybrid side, the viticulturalists and the specialists have done an amazing job coming up with varietals, hybrid vinifera that grows well here in Georgia. We have a lot of red clay here on this property. It holds the moisture, the pH levels are pretty decent, but with the right vineyard management program, you can grow grapes very successfully that produce wonderful wines here in Georgia.
Those wines are on full display here at Blue Cielo Farms, along with a relaxed atmosphere and plenty of views. It's a little slice of heaven that inspired the name, which is an homage to Cassandra's previous job as a Spanish teacher.
And so I wanted to bring that with me into my new career. And so that's where I came up with the name Cielo, and Cielo means sky or heaven, and so that's why we call it Blue Cielo. We believe that Cielo means tranquility and optimism and serenity, and so that's what we try to carry in our brand and at our winery.
Reporting from Elberton, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Up next, meet a young Georgia Farm Bureau ambassador who's taking his love for the land on the road, advocating for agriculture across the state. His passion, his drive, and his story coming up.
Hey y'all, I'm Tom McCall, president of Georgia Farm Bureau. As we all know, fall is just around the corner, and with that comes all kind of events and festivals, and especially one that we all look forward to is the Georgia National Fair in Perry. The fair begins on October the 3rd and runs through the 13th. It has something for everyone, rides, games, shows, and don't ever forget the great fair foods. Also remember the fair gives everybody a chance to connect with Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. Be sure to visit the Georgia Grown Building, the Baby Barn, and all the great ag exhibits in the booth. Especially stop by the Georgia Farm Bureau booth and visit the #1 ag organization in Georgia. Also, make sure to take a walk through the livestock barns to see some of the prettiest cattle, sheep, goats, and hogs in Georgia. Visit with our young livestock exhibitors and their families. I want to personally invite you to join us on Saturday, October the 5th for Georgia Farm Bureau Day at the fair and help us celebrate all things ag. For more information, go to georgianationalfair.com. Jane and I look forward to seeing you at this event, and we all are going to have fun celebrating agriculture.
Every year, the Georgia Forestry Commission flies over 6,000 miles, surveying over 11,520,000 acres of Georgia's landscape, looking for signs of activity from an insect known as the southern pine beetle. While this insect is no longer than a grain of rice, the damage it causes to Georgia's pine forests is gigantic. Southern pine beetles attack and kill trees by creating winding tunnels underneath their bark to store their eggs. Don't worry, the Georgia Forestry Commission is always keeping an eye out for these insects. From June to September, we take to the skies to watch over Georgia's trees from above. This process begins with a little bit of planning. First things first, your local GFC forester will partner with a member of our air operations team. Using data of the area, they will work together to determine the best route for observation. Once a route has been determined, then it's time to fly. The forester and the pilot will begin circling the area, looking out for any brown spots amid the green canopies, a sign of dying trees. If a potential pine beetle spot is sighted, it is logged on the map for further on-the-ground investigation. Once the flight is complete and any potential pine beetle spots are logged, a forester will then travel to these spots on the ground and investigate the trees further. In some cases, the forester will work with a private land consultant on the investigation as well. When they arrive on the scene, the forester will locate and assess the trees, looking for any surface-level signs of beetle activity, including green needles scattered around the base of the tree and pitch tubes located in the bark. Then, the forester will remove a piece of the tree bark to check for the S-shaped markings caused by the southern pine beetles. Usually, if these tunnels are found, the forester will then confirm that the tree death in this spot is being caused by an outbreak of the southern pine beetles. The GFC forester will then take photos and log any evidence they find. If the presence of southern pine beetle is confirmed, the GFC forester will work with the landowner to determine the best next steps available to them. There are a few things that can be done to prevent the spreading of southern pine beetle, including thinning the pine stand, conducting a prescribed burn, or conducting a chemical release of non-pine trees. The Georgia Forestry Commission offers a southern pine beetle cost share program, and eligible landowners could be incentivized to complete these activities. Please contact your local GFC forester if you've seen any signs of southern pine beetle activity on your property. Your local GFC forester may also contact you if we notice any signs of southern pine beetle activity on your property during one of our aerial surveys. Together, we can take preventative measures to reduce the amount of trees claimed by southern pine beetles and help keep our trees green and healthy.
In the heart of Pierce County, where fields of peanuts, cotton, and tobacco stretch as far as the eye could see, Dawson Johnson stands as a symbol of dedication to agriculture. As a Georgia Farm Bureau ambassador and a student at ABAC, Dawson's commitment to farming runs deep, rooted in a lifelong connection to the land and a desire to carry forward the traditions of his family.
From a young age, Dawson Johnson was immersed in the rhythms of farm life. His days have always been filled with hard work, faith, and a sense of responsibility that many his age might shy away from. For Dawson, farming isn't just a profession. It's a lifestyle he cherishes and plans to uphold.
You've grown up around Farm Bureau.
Yes, sir.
So to become an ambassador for Georgia Farm Bureau, looking from the outside, it's a natural fit. Is that the way you see it as well?
Yeah, I believe so, because, you know, the other 4 of us on there, they come from different backgrounds. And I believe I'm the only one that comes from a straight up farm in a way, you know, and I can bring that to the table for us and get out and show the younger people my side, my story, you know.
Talk to me about farm life.
Work every day as hard as you can. That's about all there is to it, you know. There's fun times and there's hard times. That's what it is, you know. It's go to church on Sunday, rest the rest of that day, and get up Monday and do it all over again.
Dawson's connection to Georgia Farm Bureau is almost a given considering his family's history with the organization. His father, Daniel, a respected figure within the Bureau, has been a guiding influence, teaching Dawson the ins and outs of farming, from running machinery to managing the intricate business side of agriculture. Yet, Dawson is determined to make his own mark, bringing a fresh perspective to the table as an ambassador.
Is there some pressure being an ambassador, knowing, you know, your family's history within Georgia Farm Bureau?
Yeah, I believe so, because, you know, a lot of times I go to these events and I know that person's face, but I don't know their name when I'm supposed to know their name, you know. That's really where the pressure is for me. But, you know, it's also like getting on a stage and talking, and my daddy, he can do it. He can talk to a brick wall and be fine. And me, I get up there and I get nervous, and, you know, there is a lot of pressure. We're trying to make a living, but also feed other people. You know, feed the country, feed the state. And people don't realize if there ain't farmers, or, I mean, everybody knows this, but if there, I mean, it's true, if there ain't farmers, we ain't gonna be fed. You know, we ain't gonna have cotton, wear clothes, and peanuts for peanut butter, you know. Right. And it could happen one day that our whole state could be on a food shortage.
Dawson's advocacy is also driven by a deep understanding of the challenges farmers face. His own experience with the devastation of Tropical Storm and Hurricane Debbie that wiped out a portion of his family's tobacco crop has only strengthened his resolve. He remains committed to farming, driven by a love for the land and the satisfaction he finds in a job well done.
When you look at stuff like that, Dawson, what makes you keep coming back? I mean, is it family pressure, or is it just the lifestyle because you're young, you're impressionable, you see what storms can do? What keeps you coming back and want to do this as a profession?
Well, all I ever known, I reckon. I like coming out here and doing it every day. So, you know, I go to school and I can't wait for that Friday that comes around to get out of class and come back on weekends and work. I can't wait for it, you know. I reckon I just love it that much.
Beyond the fields, Dawson and his family share a passion for tractor pulls, a tradition that combines their love for farming with the thrill of competition. As he looks to the future, his goal is clear: to continue farming and eventually take over the family operation alongside his brother.
For the next round, next group that comes in of future ambassadors, what would be your message to them?
If they're, you know, sitting there thinking about doing it, whether they want to do it or not, I'd tell them to do it. Because whether you do like it or not, it will benefit you in some way. You know, I guarantee you they'll like it. I've had a bunch of fun so far. And the amount of people that I've met, you never know if you're going to meet them down the road or something like that. But I would say do it and go to every event. And never say no in Farm Bureau. I heard that one time, and I stick to that right there. Never say no.
Good advice, Dawson. Very good advice. Well, when it comes to Christmas trees, growing the perfect one is a year-round job. After the break, we'll take you to a farm where the trees get a little extra training before making it to your home. Okay, I get it. We haven't even hit Halloween yet. But let's be honest, it's never too early to look ahead to Christmas. For Skipper Family Farms in Bibb County, preparing for Christmas is a daily routine.
I'm Neil Skipper with Skipper Family Farms, and we're a Centennial farm.
established in 1912. I'm the third generation farmer. In 2022, we had made the decision to get in the Christmas tree business, so here we are growing trees.
The Skipper family says although you only buy Christmas trees one time a year, growing them is a year-round job.
People think that you just plant them and watch them grow and cut them down. And I'll be the first to say, they are not born to be Christmas trees. They don't really want to be a Christmas tree, so we have to train them.
One way they train them is by finding the leader, or the branch that grows at the center of the tree.
You can see how that branch is beginning to lean over a little bit, and we've got a lot of kind of longer limbs here. She's going to make a new leader.
They trim the branches around it, ensuring that it stays in the center and it's straight.
This will be our new leader, and it's going to continue to grow up, and the tree will continue to grow and get taller. With these being cut, then that slows the growth of these leaves down. It thickens everything up, but now they can't really outgrow this.
And some trees, like this one here, fight hard to not become a Christmas tree at all.
This one absolutely did not want to be a Christmas tree. It wanted to be a snowman. Its head is here, and then its center body is here, and then the bottom down here. Snowman trees are not as plentiful as a Christmas tree, but they are out there. Somebody will want a snowman rather than a Christmas tree.
In addition to the snowman trees, there are 5 varieties of trees at Skipper Family Farms.
These are our silver smoke, Murray cypress, Carolina sapphire. We have a Nalar blue, and we planted a few deer door cedars.
And each variety grows at a different rate.
These trees are in their second growing season.
He says the perfect tree takes around 4 years to grow.
We can grow a really nice tree that's 5 to 6 foot in 3 years.
But they start out like this.
This tree is really about a year old. We like to plant in January, February.
Before they plant the tree, they basal prune it.
We'll cut all these lower branches off. That'll make that tree begin to thicken up. It's going to force some additional growth to start thickening that tree up.
Then it's time to plant.
We'll go ahead and put some water in the hole, and then I'll just kind of shake it. We like to get rid of all of that pine bark mulch and just get down to the roots. It's covered up, dirt in here. After we get the tree planted and we kind of get them all planted, we'll come back and then we'll stake them. We built this little thing. It puts the stakes 18 inches in the ground and leaves us with about 3.5 feet above the ground. And then Debbie comes back with this tape gun. We want to try to keep them growing as straight as possible. With us using overhead irrigation, we're putting out 170 gallons of water per minute through here. And unlike my hay fields, I want to water these trees during the day, and I want to be through before dark so that the tree has time to dry out, that moisture ain't just sitting inside that tree.
They also take soil samples to check pH levels.
So we'll, have an idea of what we think the tree needs as far as fertilizer, and we'll put it out by hand.
There's always something to do on the farm.
You keep a set of clippers on your side most all the time.
When they're not planting, finding leaders, or cutting grass, they're pruning. And this contraption makes the job a little easier.
This trimmer is called a Sagey.
So whatever variety you choose, know that the Skipper family is working hard to provide the perfect tree for you.
JP getting us in that Christmas spirit. Love it. Well, before we go, quick reminder that for all the latest ag news and features, be sure you check out our website, farm-monitor.com.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor. Have a great week and Merry Christmas.